Your Worship, we're live.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Clerk. Good morning, everybody. We'll call this meeting to order. And before we get started, I think I've got a couple of announcements I think are worth speaking about today. The first one being the passing of Mr. Giorgio Mammoliti. Although Giorgio and I didn't agree on things politically, I must say that outside of politics, I believe he was one heck of a man. And one thing I know for sure is that he believed in his convictions, but most importantly, he believed in and loved his family. He was quite a family man, quite a dad, and just quite an individual. And this tragic accident that has unfortunately taken his life way too soon is very sad for our community and sad for everyone who knew Giorgio. Our hearts are breaking for his family and the people who knew him and love him, and just want them to know that they are in our thoughts and prayers as they go through this difficult time. Another member of our community, a longtime member of our community, Mr. Doug Fraser, also passed away, I learned yesterday, and Doug owned a gas station here, Doug's BP, at the corner of 5th Street in Moseley for many years. Very well known in the community, a great community contributor. And I went to school with his son, or his daughter, Lisa, just a wonderful family as well. And Doug was a great contributor over the years to the town of Wasaga Beach. So again, our hearts and prayers and our thoughts go out to the Fraser family. On a bit of a happier note, we've got some birthdays I think worth announcing. The Wasaga Beach Ministerial Food Bank celebrating their 20th year of doing really great services and providing food for a lot of folks in need, led by an amazing group of volunteers over the years. Although sometimes those volunteers change, they have a lot of volunteers there that have been with them from almost day one. And so we thank them for all their hard work and dedication to helping folks in need here in Wasaga Beach. So happy anniversary to the Wasaga Beach Ministerial Food Bank. Yesterday was our CAO, Mr. McNeil's birthday. He refuses to tell us his age, but that's okay. So happy birthday to you, Andrew. And today is Councillor Faye Ego's birthday. Happy birthday to you, Councillor. And she tells me she's 37 and holding, and she looks 37 and holding too. So congratulations and happy birthday to you both. All right, we'll now ask everyone if they're able to please stand for our national anthem. Thank you very much. And we'll now go to item number 1.2 on the agenda, our land acknowledgement, and I'll look to Councillor DeLeo. Councillor, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. The town of Wasaga Beach acknowledges it is located upon the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people of Three Fires Confederacy. We also acknowledge that the people of the Wyandot Nation also inhabited these lands. We acknowledge that these nations were sovereign nations existing before the arrival of settlers. We respect the spiritual interconnection among these nations to the land and to the water. We also acknowledge that waterways near us have a long history predating European arrival. Since time immemorial, waterways were the lifeblood of the indigenous people by trade and hunting routes. We are dedicated to inclusivity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people in our future stewardship of the land and the longest freshwater beach in the world. In the spirit of conciliation, we welcome the opportunity of learning to be sustainable caretakers of the land and waterways for all future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, and Miigwech, Councillor. Now moving on to item number 2 is proclamations, and we do have a motion from the Office of the Mayor with respect to Women's Day, March 8, 2026. The recommended motion is that the Council proclaim March 8, 2026 as International Women's Day in the town of Wasaga Beach. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Ego. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 3 is disclosure of pecuniary interests. I do have none before me at this time. If at some point throughout the meeting you feel you have a pecuniary interest, please let us know at that time. Item number 4 is the adoption of the agenda and the recommended motion that the contents of the agenda for February 26, 2026 be approved as circulated. Any questions or comments on this? Mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Councillor Belanger, seconded by Councillor DeLeo. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 5 is the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting of February 12, 2026. And the recommended motion is that the minutes of the council meeting held February 12th, 2026 be adopted as circulated. Questions or comments on that? Seeing none, a mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Snell, seconded by Councillor Ego. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 6 is government relations and the beachfront update, and we'll turn it over to our CAO, Andrew McNeil, for that update. Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'll give you a quick detail. There's a lot of work going on right now between the town and the province. Let me start by just emphasizing that we are absolutely thrilled with the collaborative relationship that we have built with the province over the last few months and couple of years. That extends right from the minister down to frontline staff. Minister Cho was here at Snowman Mania not too long ago. He was excited to be part of Snowman Mania. This was the province's first opportunity to join in this exciting event with the town. I will share with you, he liked the weather a lot more during Snowman Mania than he did in the summer. He said when he came here for the press release with the premier, he found that a little bit too hot for his liking. So he quite liked the event at Snowman Mania. We had a good chat, and things are quite positive. I'll give you a quick update on things that are going on right now. As I think you are aware, the provincial park has been officially deregulated. What that means is the lands from 16th Street to the boundary of Woodland Beach, that includes Allenwood, New Wasaga, the 2 provincial beach areas, have now been officially taken out of Wasaga Beach Provincial Park. Nancy Island is now under the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Gaming, and that's why Minister Cho came up for Snowman Mania. We are working with the province to implement changes that come along with all of this. One of the first changes is that the town will assume operations for all of these lands for the summer of 2026. That includes Allenwood that we operated last summer. This will now include New Wasaga, Provincial Beach Area 1, as well as Provincial Beach Area 2. Importantly, the town will be receiving all of the parking revenue from the 2 former provincial beach areas, Beach Area 1, Beach Area 2. Those 2 parking lot areas have been removed from the provincial website, so you can no longer make reservations on the provincial website for those 2 areas. So that is good. That's important because our budget assumptions actually included that for 2026. I won't get into the details of the operating approach, but I will share it's very much pursuing a status quo approach for 2026 while we are preparing our plan. And status quo meaning relating to operational maintenance. So essentially what was done in 2025 by the town and the province is what we will look to do in 2026. The official ownership transfer is in process. It's going to take a bit of time. There are a bunch of hoops that we need to jump through at the provincial level. I'm not sure that the exact date that ownership will be transferred, but it is in process. In the interim, because those lands have now been officially taken out of the provincial park, we are working with the province on an interim operating agreement. We had one in place last summer for Allenwood Beach, despite the fact that the town owned the lands. It was a transition year. So our operating agreement for the remainder of the lands will very much be modeled on that basic agreement that we had in place last summer for Allenwood Beach. We're going to look to get that in place quickly. So we'll likely have that to council in March. On the operational side, our GM of infrastructure, Kevin Lalonde, and his team, Lee Furlot, are working hard and closely with Ontario Parks to understand all of the things that Ontario Parks did last summer, status of bathrooms, etc. They're also hiring summer students, getting up to speed with maintenance equipment, etc. So a lot of work going on there by Kevin and Lee. Our Director of Legislative Services, Nicole Ribley, and her team, bylaw enforcement, are also ramping up to get ready for the enforcement side of things, looking after parking, etc. They are also going to be bringing on student hires. They're also looking at a beach bylaw, so that is in the works, and I'll let Nicole speak to this if she wants to add any more to that, but that will be in front of council fairly soon. On the fun side of things, the creation of the master plan, things are progressing quite nicely. So we now have a draft plan, a starter idea plan that we'll be sharing with you shortly. We met last Friday with some key folks at the province that included the deputy minister, assistant deputy minister, and some key higher-ups in all of the relevant ministries that we're engaged with to share a sneak peek at the plan with them, just to get a sense of any red flags that they saw from their perspective. All the feedback was extremely positive. We are going to share this with council as part of an education session in March. I think we've tentatively scheduled March 26th to bring that forward to council to share the starter ideas with you. And then we will share the draft plan with the public. We are looking to have a workshop 3 days in April, so April 7th, 8th, and 9th. The 7th will be a public workshop, similar to what we've done in the past, for the public to come out, hear the starter plan emerging, share their thoughts on it. The 8th will be a series of intensive workshops where we roll up our sleeves and get some feedback on what the folks have seen. And then the 9th, what we're going to do is a virtual workshop. So those that are not able to attend the in-person workshop, we're going to do our best to engage as many people as possible. So we'll offer a virtual presentation with the opportunity to provide feedback on the plan on the 9th as well. We're hoping by the 7th, 8th, and 9th that a lot of our snowbirds are back in town. But for those that are still away or that can't make it during the time of the 7th, this will give an opportunity for people to log in wherever they are in the province or around the world. Based on the feedback that we receive over those 3 days, we'll make any refinements to the plan and then proceed accordingly. So we're very much on track with the schedule that we had set out for the creation of the plan. Nicole, is there anything you wanted to add on the bylaw side before I open it up to any questions?
Thank you, Andrew. Nicole?
Thank you, and through your worship, I agree with everything the CAO has mentioned. The collaboration has been wonderful, and we're just working through those mechanics to ensure that this summer season is going to be a wonderful experience for our residents and visitors. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Anything further, Andrew?
No. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. I'll go to Councillor White. Councillor?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Through you, I'm really pleased as well. Finally seeing tourism in the direction of paying for tourism. Being able to take in the revenues from those two massive parking lots, I think, is going to be amazing. What we've learned from operating and getting revenues from Allenwood Beach has been tremendous, and I hope that that type of footprint moves forward. The beach equipment that we we're able to acquire through a grant from the government, I think is also very important in making sure that our beach is beautiful and elevates the experience to our residents and visitors. I have two questions. The first is around parking. Those are massive parking lots that we're taking over. Do residents' parking passes apply in those parking lots? That's question one. And two, if someone can comment on what we're doing for our little fuzzy friends, the plovers, I want to make sure that they're protected. I know that there's a plan because we've talked about it, but I'd love to hear it again.
So on the parking issue, unless council feels otherwise, my recommendation would be council has already passed a resolution that residents of Wasaga Beach are able to park in town parking lots for free with a pass. So if council is comfortable extending that to those two areas, I think we could honor that, but I defer to council to provide direction on that. With respect to plovers, we are working very closely with Wasaga Valley Conservation Authority as well as our environmental consultants as part of our destination Wasaga Master Plan to create a plover strategy. Again, I'm not going to get into a lot of the details on this call, but just to ease any fears that may exist, our status quo approach will mean that we will respect the critical habitat area at the point. That includes a no rake zone from Spruce Street moving east towards the mouth of the river. So we will absolutely honor that for the summer of 2026. Our goal is actually not just to maintain past practices, but to actually improve the situation. There were no chicks actually that hatched last year or that were successfully hatched. So we're taking a step back and looking at management practices, not only locally, but internationally. Michigan's been very successful with their plover program. So we're actually reaching out, learning what they're doing. Are there things that we could do in Wasaga Beach to actually make the program more successful? That's going to be part of an overall strategy. But for 2026, status quo, nothing's going to change. And then we'll be back once the plan is done to talk about are there things that we can do to improve the situation.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And yes, I had a conversation just the other day with Ian Adams with respect to the piping plovers and the ecosystem and the dunes and so on and so forth. And it's so unfortunate there are organizations out there who are putting information out that simply is not correct. It's fear-mongering, in my opinion. And I think the people of Wasaga Beach, when we come out with the plan, will be quite happy to see that not only is there a political will and the will of our staff to ensure that we maintain the importance of our ecosystem, dunes, and our piping plovers, hognose snake, you name it, that there's actually an appetite to try and improve and do better. While finding a better balance than what we have currently. So, our message has been clear from the very beginning of this, and that is that we are going to look for best practices, work with the experts, which we have on the planning team here through Urban Strategies. We're working with the NVCA. We've had some conversations with other organizations. We'll continue to have more. We'll look out to Michigan, as Andrew has mentioned, and others to ensure that, when all is said and done, we're going to make sure that we're doing as good and hopefully even better and being more successful. So that message is important. It's never changed from the onset of this. It's not going to change as we move forward. Unfortunately, as I say, organizations out there leading people to believe we're going to come in and tear out the dunes and rake the dunes and get rid of the nesting areas and so on couldn't be anything further from the truth. So glad you brought that up, Councillor. Supplemental?
Yeah, I'm really appreciative of that, Andrew. Taking a proactive approach to protecting why people come to Wasaga Beach, that connection to nature, the fact that we have the plovers here is incredible. The fact that we do understand the environmental impact of our dunes, the parabolic dunes as well as the beach dunes, I think it's vitally important. We don't want to ever lose the primary purpose that people live here and come and visit here, and that's the nature. As Joni Mitchell said, we don't want to pave paradise and put up a parking lot. We want to make sure that paradise exists and all that sort of stuff. And we just communicated out really well that we're going to reinvest in the beach. I don't want to throw the province under the bus in any way, shape, or form, but we have seen not a ton of reinvestment in the provincial park, especially along the beachfront with things like picnic tables and shade structures and stuff like that, the amphitheater, just not being maintained or utilized. And I think this gives the town a tremendous opportunity, not only to utilize what's there, but also to protect it for generations to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Belanger. You're muted, Councillor. You're muted.
Okay, it wasn't coming up, so I apologize. I don't know if this is totally appropriate, but, given the fact that we're planning some public meetings, Destination Wasaga, and our plan, I just think it would be much more effective if we could do an update regarding Nancy Island at the same time. I know that plan is proceeding as well, and certainly spend quite a bit of time there at Snowman Mania, and it's another amazing opportunity to enhance our entire community and beach experience. So I just wanted to put that out there in case there's an opportunity to tie that in to the upcoming meetings. Thank you.
If I could, Mr. Mayor, yeah, we did speak a little bit about Nancy Island when we were down at the province on Friday. They are working on some plans. They are not ready to share them with us yet. So myself and my team have not seen what they're working on just yet, but they said they're getting close. So I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to share that quite soon with the public. I don't know if we'll be able to make that part of the public workshop or not. If we can, we'll certainly try, but hopefully public engagement on that plan will follow soon after. The good news is we did talk about the approach to Nancy Island, and when you see the plan in a couple of weeks, you'll understand that we're thinking about how Nancy gets tied in with the broader community. It's a very important piece of not only our history, but our future. So they understand where we're coming from, and I think we're on the same page with the opportunity with Nancy Island. So it's just a matter of when they're ready to share their plans with us and the community.
Thank you.
All right, other questions or comments from members of council? All right, seeing none, we'll now move on to item number 7, which is staff reports, and it's noted the following staff reports have been pulled from the consent agenda to be dealt with under matters for consideration at 7.1, 7.6, and 7.8. Are there any other items that any member wishes to pull at this time? Seeing none, we do have a motion then that the following consent list items under staff reports and all the recommendations contained therein be adopted, excluding items pulled, and moved to matters for consideration to be voted on separately. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please, for this? Moved by Councillor Tim, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That carries unanimously. And moving on to item number 8, correspondence items, and the following consent list items under correspondence be received for information. Nothing has been pulled. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this motion, please? Moved by Councillor DeLeo and seconded by Deputy Mayor Snell. All in favor? That carries unanimously. Item number 9 is minutes and boards and committees. Nothing has been pulled there either, and the motion that the consent list items under minutes and boards and committees be received for information. And may I have a mover and a seconder for this? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Eagle. All in favor? That carries unanimously. And moving on to item number 10 then, items and matters for consideration. And the first item on this list is the doctor recruitment, Dr. Rogers, and this was pulled by Deputy Mayor Snell and Councillor White. Deputy Mayor Snell, the floor is yours. Maybe we'll let Caitlin talk to this first. Caitlin, good morning and welcome.
Morning. Thank you, Mayor Smith. So just before I answer Councillor White's and Deputy Mayor Snell's questions, I just wanted to provide a brief update and a small correction related to the doctor recruitment report. So yesterday I had the opportunity to connect directly with Dr. Rogers, and she provided an update on her patient intake details. So I can share now that her patient roster is already well above 1,000 patients, right? And she will be focusing on registering and transitioning those patients into her practice over the coming months. And just as a result, she's not accepting new patients at this time. However, for residents who are currently in need of a family physician, they're encouraged to contact the South Georgian Bay Ontario Health Team to be added to their wait list. And our news release will have details for the health team. And I just wanted to highlight what's so positive about this announcement is that more than 1,000 patients didn't lose their access to a family doctor. And this further shows that the program is helping to ensure the continuity of care, and speaks directly to the importance of our ongoing physician recruitment program. So I'm happy to take those questions.
Thanks very much, Caitlin, and it's very positive to point that out. Although this doctor won't be taking as many new patients as one would hope, there's 1,000 patients that aren't losing a doctor, and that's vitally important. Excellent report. Thank you for that. And now look to Deputy Mayor Snell. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Your Worship. I was just going to make the same comment. Sometimes you see folks saying, well, where's the value here? It's not helping new people. But the fact that it's saving, now even more, up to 1,000 people for scrambling to try to find a replacement service, it's just as important, just as valuable for our community. So thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell. Councillor White.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Yeah, people don't understand that even though we're replacing a physician here, it's still a very competitive situation. Every municipality probably has a doctor recruitment program, so you still have to fight for every doctor, including ones that we replace. Just a couple of quick questions, if you don't mind. One is around, was Dr. Steed under any doctor recruitment program from the past for us, and if there's any outstanding issues there, can you let me know if there's something that the town needs to do there? And second off, I know that different physicians have different funding models for their practices. I think that one of the physicians that we've put in at our medical clinic will take on a full roster of 2,000 patients by the time they're up and running. Do we see Dr. Rogers, once she has successfully onboarded the 1,000 patients that clinic has, do you think that will expand up to that 2,000 level, so in the future?
Caitlin?
Through you, Your Worship. Thank you, Councillor White. So to answer your first question, Dr. Steed, she was not a participant or recipient of any funding through the town's doctor recruitment program. So because of that, there's no contract or financial implications for the municipality related to her departure. As for her patient roster, she has shared with me that she's comfortable staying at that 1,000 patient mark for quite some time until she rosters on all of those patients. It is a lot of work to get them registered and get their files all up to date. So for now, she's going to be staying at that 1,000 mark. The doctor that's at our clinic at the 2,000 mark, that's very ambitious, and we're very, very fortunate to have a doctor that takes on that many patients. But the average roster is about 1,000 to 1,300.
All right. Thank you very much, Caitlin. Now to Councillor Belanger.
Yes, thank you through the mayor. Maybe I'll forward some information to Caitlin, but given some of the things that are going on south of the border, some of our western provinces, particularly BC, have had some community programs that have been quite successful at not just recruiting doctors, but nurses and other medical specialists that are quite willing to depart the U.S. under the circumstances and the upcoming cuts to the medical profession down there. My understanding is there's quite a few smaller hospitals and clinics that will be closed. So I will forward you some information. I don't know if it's applicable to Ontario, but certainly any opportunity we have to do improved recruitment is, I think, a plus. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ego.
Thank you, and through your worship, yes, I was on the same vein as most of the others, that it's, you hear all the time the greatest fear when you're chatting with people, what if my doctor retires? What's going to happen if my doctor leaves? So it's tough enough to get new doctors, and then, but to have 1,000 people that will not be having to look for a new doctor is just paramount. And I can't imagine the relief, that these patients and residents of the beach feel for that. So I think it's a huge win. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, then, we have a recommended motion that the report titled Doctor Recruitment Incentive, Dr. Stephanie Rogers, to the council meeting of February 26, 2026 be received, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute a doctor recruitment incentive agreement between the town of Wasaga Beach and Dr. Stephanie Rogers, subject to technical review by the Economic Development Officer and financial review by the Chief Financial Officer. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Timms. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Blanchet.
In favor?
Councillor DeLeo.
In favor?
Councillor Ego.
In favor?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Snell.
In favor?
Councillor Timms.
In favor.
Councillor White.
In favor.
Mayor Smith. Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And now moving on to the next item pulled, is the street naming policy, and this was pulled by Councillor Ego. Any staff to speak to this before I let the councillor go ahead?
Thank you, Your Worship. Nothing to speak to. Obviously, it's been long overdue that we have a street naming policy officially. Just want to say thank you to some of our other staff members in other departments. It wasn't just a planning exercise. It did involve others. So happy to take any questions that council may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Trevor. Councillor Ego, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and through your worship. Yes, I really wanted to thank the staff on this one. This was a huge, when you read it, it's pages and pages. So it has taken a paramount of work for many staff, and in particular for Trevor, the Director of Planning, for being the lead on this. I don't believe we had a policy for street naming, and this one appears to cover so many bases. And I think it may have come in part, but it may have been on the books. I have no idea. But I recall back in November of 2024 when a discussion came up about honoring our veterans, and a request was put forward through council for different options. So I cannot tell you how excited I was when I came to the portion there on this agenda saying it would be names honoring those who had served was on this agenda. And it read in part, special signage containing the poppy symbol is to be used for all veteran street names. And I was jumping over the moon. These are the touches that give us our own identity, our sense of community, our sense of worth. There will be history on there, the memories of those that have been here before. It's our past. And that there will be a poppy symbol on there, the symbol of the ultimate sign of respect is something we should be so proud of. And that residents will have the opportunity to submit names. The council will have opportunity to submit suggestions. And it all goes through a policy. There will be no more just picking through and wondering. It must make it easier for all kinds of staff in the long run. So I just really had to speak to that, and very grateful. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments on this matter or questions? All right, seeing none, we do have a recommended motion that the report titled Street Naming Policy to the council meeting of February 26, 2026 be received, and that council approve the street naming policy attached as Appendix A, and that council approve the fee of $1,000 for an application that proposes to rename an existing street. Can I move in a second for this, please? Moved by Councillor Ego, seconded by Deputy Mayor Snell. All in favor? Oh, sorry, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Blanchet,
In favor?
Councillor DeLeo,
In favor.
Councillor Ego,
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Snell,
In favor.
Councillor Timms,
In favor.
Councillor White,
In favor.
Mayor Smith.
In favor?
Carries unanimously.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And on to the next item is the county proposal discount subclass within the new multi-residential assessment class. And this was pulled by Councillor White, Councillor Belanger, and Councillor Timms. Staff, or Trevor, did you wish to speak to this at all before we go to questions or comments? And Jocelyn, sorry?
Thank you, Your Worship. This report is being brought forward for council's information. I'll just ask if Shannon Stewart could just give a brief overview of what the new proposal is, and then if there's any questions, I'll take the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Good morning, Shannon.
Morning, Council, or good morning, Mayor. I apologize for my voice. I have a bit of a cough that I am fighting right now. This proposed new subclass is going to be discussed in March at the County Council. It was brought to, excuse me, the attention of the lower tier municipalities within the county at a meeting with MTE. There are some consultants that the county has hired to assist with property tax and assessment issues. This particular subclass is on the surface encouraging more multi-residential development within the municipalities by offering a discount on the property taxes for these properties based on the date that they are purchased. The discount is not in any way contingent on providing like lower rents or passing on any of those savings to other the residents that they rent to. It is excuse me. It is, however, allowing it is creating an inequity between these properties and the multi-residential properties that have been, maybe a similar building, maybe a similar property size that have been created before the effective date of this discount. It also shifts the burden of the property taxes onto the other property classes, the residential, the other commercial, and the pre-existing multi-residential property classes. So I wanted to make sure that this information was brought forward before council prior to the discussion at the county so that an informed decision and input could be made at that table. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shannon. Anything to add, Jocelyn?
Thank you, Your Worship. No, I think Shannon's covered the report well, and thank you for doing that, Shannon. I know that's hard when you're not up to the norm. But thank you, and if you would like to move forward with questions, we can go there.
Thank you very much, Jocelyn. And now look to Councillor White, who pulled this. Councillor White?
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Yeah, this is a very difficult situation. As a former landlord, I don't feel like the Landlord-Tenant Act has yet to find a perfect balance to help protect renters as well as landlords adequately. There's still a bit of an imbalance there, which makes it's an undesirable business case in some cases, and I can understand why. Trying to throw incentives at this, a property tax discount. But unless it's tied to fixing some of the rental problems when it comes to pricing structures and protections that way, I don't feel like it's a very good plan. My question is around what other incentives are there. I do recall at some point the province coming up with a plan to either reduce or eliminate the GST on the building of these purpose-built rentals. Is that still in place, or is this trying to replace that plan?
Thank you. Through your worship. Councillor White, if you wouldn't mind just repeating last part of your question about what you thought was still in place?
Yeah, no problem. Through your worship to the CFO. I felt like in my head somewhere there was a plan to reduce or eliminate the GST on the building of purpose-built rentals. I'm wondering if that's still in place, or if this plan to reduce property taxes around purpose-built rentals is to replace that.
Thank you for the question. I don't have an answer specifically on the GST. I can get back to you on the status of that. What we do have at the moment is just in our DC bylaw, we have a section when there's a change of use. So if a hotel motel was to change its use from non-residential to residential, then they're exempt for the development charges on that, provided the footprint didn't change. And there are some other sections, depending on exactly what was being done, some other sections might apply as well to credit DCs on existing structures that if they were demolished. So we have a little bit of an incentive there for short-term units. But other than that, we only have the affordable housing that is new under the DC Act that is also coming forward. So I'm not sure if that answers your question directly, but we have a few items here that do help for the affordable housing under the rental units.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would be, the reason for the question is it kind of seems like a little bit of an offloading situation where you have revenues that would be taken into the GST, which is a higher tier government, provincial government, federal government, reduction there to offset the cost of building, and handing that down to the municipalities to take in less revenue when they establish rental units. So I just want to make sure that the municipality and the taxpayer, the residential taxpayer, doesn't take it on the chin here to cover for a provincial plan. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Councillor. The next person who pulled this was Councillor Belanger. Councillor?
Yes, thank you, through the mayor. If you recall, when we had the conversation about the creation of our zoning bylaws, which are in process, I've asked for an education session to council. I think this would lend itself very well to be included in that education session, that maybe we could have some discussion about incentives for multi-unit or rental dwellings that you could take forward to county council. I've said many times, I have a really grave concern about workforce housing and affordable housing in Wasaga Beach, as we're very fast growing, and the people we need to service that population are finding it ever increasingly difficult to afford to live in our community. And I think there's a lot of things that could be considered. My understanding is that in Metro Toronto, which I realize is under the Toronto Act, that they have really implemented considerable incentives for multi-unit dwellings, and I think, maybe Trevor can speak more to that, but I think there are a number of things that should be investigated and considered by council going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Belanger. Councillor Timms was the next.
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, I think that my colleagues have pretty well covered what I was about to say. This was one that made me feel a little bit uneasy because we really don't, other than your vote, Your Worship, and Deputy Mayor, we don't have much of a say in it. So thank you to my colleagues for covering what I would like to have added to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Timms. Anyone else wish to comment on this item? All right, seeing none, you can be rest assured that the Deputy Mayor and myself will represent us well at County Council when this comes for discussion. I can tell you I have some of the same concerns But, we will have to just wait and see how this plays out at the upper tier. We do have a recommended motion then that the report titled County Proposal Discount Subclass within the new multi-residential assessment class to the council meeting of February 26, 2026 be received for information. Mover and a seconder for this, please. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Timms. Madam Clerk?
Councillor Blanchet,
In favor?
Councillor DeLeo,
In favor.
Councillor Eagle,
In favor?
Deputy Mayor Snell,
In favor.
Councillor Timms, Councillor Timms,
In favor.
Councillor White,
In favor.
Mayor Smith,
In favor?
carries unanimously.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And item number 11 now on the agenda is recommendations arising from boards and committees, and there are none today. Item number 12 is council requested staff reports. Members of council, you've seen that list. Any questions or comments on these staff reports from anyone? All right, seeing none, we'll move along to item number 13, notices of motion, which we have none today. Item number 14, no motion where notice has been provided. There are none. And item 15, closed session, rise and report. We have no closed session today. Item number 16 is the bylaws, and we do have a recommended motion here that the following bylaws be received and to have been deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time, finally passed 2026-15, 2026-16, 2026-17, and 2026-18. Could I have a mover and a seconder for these bylaws if there's no questions? Moved by Councillor DeLeo, seconded by Councillor Eagle. All in favor? That motion carries unanimously, and this meeting is adjourned. Have a good day, everybody.